decided to break up the ride into 3 parts. This is the first part of the ride. At spot number 1 is where our ride has the maximum potential energy. Right after where the ride has the maximum potential energy, you can see number 2. That is where we placed our first loop. Immediately after our first loop, our maximum speed takes place. Our ride is going the fastest at that point, at number 3. Then, at number 4, we placed our second loop. After the second loop, you can see number 5, our upward slope is beginning. Through this section of the ride, PE is decreasing and KE is rising, except for little times in the loops where it is a slight opposite. And then at the upward slope, it starts to become opposite too. PE is rising because of the height and KE is decreasing. Now at number 6, you can see that it is the top of our upward slope. Number 7 explaining how the picture on the left, it continues onto the picture on the right. We thought we could give a better explanation this way. You can see at number 8, we have made a complete 360-degree turn. We are going in the opposite direction now. Just before the ride ends, we have the maximum kinetic energy. And at number 10, you can see we created a nice stopping mechanism so that you may have a safe end to your ride. Potential energy just goes straight downhill from this part. Potential energy is at its highest point on this section at the top of the upward slope. It goes down from there. Potential energy does not increase after that point. As for kinetic energy, it just goes straight up. Kinetic energy gains throughout the whole entire time.
To find potential energy, you do mass times gravity times height. The mass is 5, gravity is 10, and the height is 1.35. Then you multiply it together and you get 57.5 for potential energy. In the coaster, potential energy at the top equals kinetic energy at the bottom. So potential energy equals 57.5, then the kinetic energy would be 57.52. That's kinetic energy.
Okay, now to find our average speed, we take our average time, which was 4.8933 seconds, and we know the formula for speed, which is distance divided by time. Our total distance of our track was 360 centimeters, and then if we divided that by 4.8933, we would get 73.57 centimeters per second. Okay, we are finding maximum speed. Our maximum speed can be calculated by finding the point where the marble is going the fastest and calculating it. Okay, so here is point to point. The distance between these two is 90.44 centimeters. The time it took was 0.89 seconds. So us knowing that distance divided by time equals speed is then 90.44 divided by 0.89 equals 101.617 centimeters per second. Okay, so to find average time, we will take all of the time trials that we took, add them together, and then divide it by the number of trials. We had 3 time trials, and so when we added all this up, we got 14.68, and then we divided that by 3, and it was 4.8933, and that's our 33 seconds, and that's our average time. Stop.